Some of the packs featured in today's video were kindly gifted to me by the EA Creator Network. Thank you to the network for providing me with the free game codes. Hey everyone, it's Simplicity and welcome back to a new video. Today we have early access to Enchanted by Nature. So we have the new fairy stories for a Lifetime Wish, and we also have Nature Nomad, which I think is kind of cool that there's one for fairies, one for not. We also have some new teeth, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the teeth options for this are kind of scary. Um, like this one's not that bad, but like, and then for hair, so we're gonna start off with the female hair. We have this one here, which this is pretty. I don't know how I feel about it on her, but it's pretty. We have this one here with the headgear, very cool. And then we have this one here that has kind of the leaves, which is also very pretty. I've had this sim like in my library for a while, so it's kind of nice to have a reason to use her. We have this kind of braided bun, and then we have the same one here that has some like metallic highlights. So I'll go through quickly and show you the colors of these. I don't know how I feel about the red and the pink. Going together, the blonde and pink's pretty. I don't know. The pink and the pink isn't my favorite. Some of that pink and purple. So this is one of those hairs I feel like I would use very seldomly depending on color swatch. And then we have this one here, which this one has so much texture, it's super pretty. And then we have this one that has the same kind of metallic pieces. We have this one here. And then we also have this one, which kind of gives me like elf vibes. So I'm going to put this one on her for right now. Now for ears. So the ones that she currently has on, they're modded. There was something else I wanted to show you before I jumped into this, but so I do have some like modded elf ears, but I don't need them anymore. So we have this one and we have these ones. So there's two different options for size, there's big or small. And then this is like the ones that I had that were modded. But I think it's super cool that they're finally in the game. So I don't have to, have the modded ones now. And then for headwear, let me quickly switch this over. I do that every time when I score like light pass. Okay, so we have horns, which to me screams more like demon than it does fairy. So this kind of confuses me just a smidge. I don't know. And then we also have these kind of like deer antlers, which this is kind of cool. And I see where they were going with this because a lot of people kind of like fairies with antlers, and I get the vision. Not something I would necessarily use on her, I don't think. And then we have this kind of flower crown here, which this is stunning. I don't think I would use it necessarily with this hair because it feels like it's like too much on top. I think I'd kind of want something a little bit more flowy. And then we have this kind of headband, which depending on the color option, I feel like you could definitely make this look like the hair is kind of like woven into it, kind of like that, which is kind of cool. I don't know if that was necessarily the intent, but for some color swatches, I definitely think you could make that work. But here's the colors for that. And then we have this watering can hat, which also looks like it has some birds, eggs, and nest on top of it, which I will show you here in just a second so you can kind of see what that looks like. We have this hat here, which this one's kind of cool. Let's see. I don't know what it is. It's just something very like grandpa-esque about this hat for me for some reason, but super cute. And then we have another little kind of flower clown, and this one's a little bit smaller, just kind of more of like a headpiece. But you can change the color of the overall gem and the color of the leaves, and it's super cute. Again, I don't think I would pair it necessarily with this hairstyle per se, but it is super pretty. And then there's a whole new category here as well, which is head decorations. We also got this in like the base game update. So that's where you can find all of those. And then if we hop in over here to accessories, so it looks like we have some earrings. Okay, so this one's only a one-sided four-leaf clover. So if you only want one, you have that option. Well, there's also the two option here, which I'll go through the colors, assuming they're probably the same for them both. So I won't go through them both. Okay, yeah, they're the same. And then we have these long, kind of dangly, leafy ones, which I am clicking on all of the long things right now. So we have these long, dangly, leafy ones here. So that is what these look like. I kind of like these. I think they're kind of fun. Um, doesn't look like there's any sort of like new eyebrows, but I know there is at least one new makeup, which is apparently just this eyeshadow, which I'm gonna go ahead and remove that for. So this is what this one looks like, so you can kind of see the different color options. It is quite pretty. It does have a built-in eyeliner, which I probably should have removed the eyeliner that we had, but this is pretty. I don't know what color swatch I would use it in, but it is quite nice. And then we also have some new face paint. So we have this one here, which is kind of like the fairy wings. This kind of like completely changed up her look a little bit. I'm kind of surprised. And then we have this one right here as well, which has a bunch of different color options here as well. I kind of like the more like natural ones for some reason, like I don't know, the more like earthy toned ones. And then we have this one here, which I like the moonlight in the center. It's very pretty. I don't love the red. I feel like it's a little... And then we have these tattoos. So there's a gnome. We have this, which I'm not quite sure if it's meant to be anything symbolic. And then we kind of have these like pastel swirls that go all the way down the arm. I don't know. I'm not like super sold on these tattoos. I'm not gonna lie. And then we have this floral one here, which is pretty. I don't love the color of it, but it is quite pretty. I just want to make sure I'm not like missing any. And then we also have the same matching ones on this side. Oh, this one's a mushroom instead. Okay. So, and then we have the same kind of like swirly one down this side. Then we have this flower one on the back of the thigh. And then there's something to do with the feet. Um, oh, you can make the feet dirty. I see. Which has a few different color options as well, depending on what you were after. Which I guess could be good for storytelling purposes. And then we also have this swirly one that goes up the leg, which has some color options. I don't know if I looked at the color options for the other ones, but I'm assuming they are probably all the same. So that's what these look like. And then for the right leg, we have that same kind of dirty foot thing going on, and this other swirly one. Um, this one looks like it's a fairy frog. Feel like that's kind of a weird placement for it. And then we have a fairy freezer bunny, which is actually kind of cute. And then we have the swirly ones across the stomach here as well. Okay, so again, this one does have color options. I like the green, I think. The rest of them seem like a little bit harsh. But again, maybe it's me, I don't know when I would use them. Nothing new there. And then there is a new face tattoo. So this is what this one looks like. You can kind of see it a little bit. So it looks like it's kind of floral. It's got some different color options. I feel like it's kind of big for my liking. I kind of like the more like dainty face tattoos personally. Okay, so hopping into clothing, we have this cute knitted sweater here, which has a bunch of different color options. So these are what they look like. I love the greens and the yellows, of course. I feel like that's kind of like my thing. We have this here, which kind of gives me like a knockoff kind of Tinkerbell kind of vibe, but I like the color swatches. It's very cute. We have this, which this is cute. I feel like this would be very good for like a party kind of outfit. Ooh, the double colored jacket's kind of fun. But there's a lot of kind of like vibrant ones. There's also some more like natural colors too, which is nice. We have this, which I was not expecting to be a mesh shirt, but I like it. Ooh, the daisy ones kind of match her makeup a little bit. Like this one, for example, goes very well with her makeup. We have the ombre ones here as well, and then we have this kind of more like leafy kind of styled corset, which I think this might actually be one of my favorite, like fairy kind of vibes. So for pants, we have these kind of wide leg jeans that have the detailing on the bottom and up the thigh on some of them. And then we also have some just normal jean swatches, which is lovely. This is what they look like. Then we have this kind of like floral kind of skirt, which I'm assuming is meant to go with that last top that we had tried on. That would be my guess at least. Then we have this, which isn't my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of like very boxy and it's kind of weird fitting. And then we have this long skirt, which this in my mind would be super cute with that cable knit sweater. I don't know if they would actually like pair it together, but that's where my mind went with it. Then we also have this longer skirt here, which kind of looks like has like a layer to it, which is cool. Ooh, the butterflies. Okay. And then we have another pair of pants. These ones look like they have a little bit of texture to them, but these are nice. So for outfits, we have this one here, which this is super cute. I could see myself using this one kind of like pool-wise or like hot weather wear. Super cute. Um, I don't know what color options I like, but here's what they look like. So they are quite pretty. Then we have this longer dress as well that kind of has like that mesh glitter kind of vibe with the patterns and such. But it's cute. I like it. It's not super like out there, which is nice. And we have this one here, which kind of definitely gives off kind of fairy vibes, but like a little bit more like whimsy because it kind of looks like a flower. But the high-low is kind of pretty. I just wish it kind of flared out a little more. Then we have a dress like this, which kind of gives me like glamour vibes for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's just like the length of it. And then we have this one here, which has the cute little frill on the top. It also has the glitter, which I think it would be super cute to have options with or without, personally. And then we have the overalls, which kind of confused me a little bit why it's mesh right there. I don't know. I think I would like these more if it wasn't like a mesh top. To have it like solid with those patterns, I think would be cute. And then we also have this one here, which has the kind of plants coming out of the pocket. So here's the color options for this. I like that there's like different plant options depending on the color you choose too. Then we have this, which this is super cute. I don't know how practical it is, but it's cute. So it kind of looks like a butterfly wing and it's super glittery. I don't know. I don't know when I would ever use this, but it's fun to have. And then we have this one here, which kind of looks like you're just like draped in a flower, but like not in a bad way. And then we have this one here, which is like a longer kind of leafy top, but it's super pretty. It kind of looks like you have like actual moss on the bottom and like dirt. So that's kind of cool. And then we have this one here, which looks like it has a shoe option to it. I'm assuming this one has a purpose. I'm just not sure what said purpose is. But I'm definitely not getting like super whimsy with that. I don't know. And then we have naturopath and outfits that you have to kind of unlock depending on the branch. So I'm not going to take a look at those because I like to leave some surprise. And then if we hop over to the males, so this is what the one hair looks like. And then we also have this one. Not a huge difference from the front, but there is that kind of like pattern along the sides of it. And then we have this leafy one. This confuses me a little. Because the actual hair for that pink swatch looks like it's green with like the pink leaves. And I'm wondering if that's backwards. If it's meant to look like green hair. We have this one here. And then we also have this one, which this one's kind of cool. Not on this sim particularly, but this one is like what I think of for like Lucian from Akota. And then we have this long one, and then we also have the same braided one. Um, Doesn't look like there's anything specific for headwear or accessories. And then the makeup is apparently considered feminine, but they can go ahead and get the same face paints if they wanted. And then we'll go ahead and hop over. Should probably check facial hair actually. Okay, there is some options. So we have this one here, which I'm going to make it brown so we can actually see what we're looking at. And then there's this one here with the flowers. Neither one's exactly my favorite, but I see what they're going for. And then we have these tops here for the males. Kind of gives me like messenger bag kind of vibes where they're like carrying around like a vial. They have the same kind of knitted hoodie, sweater kind of vibe. So this is cute. Then there's that same crop top. We have this kind of like tank top kind of vibe. It's like a v-neck tank top. Or maybe it's like a rolled up shirt actually. And then we have a tucked in button polo, which this is cool. I like the flowers. That green is so vibrant. And then we have a longer graphic tee right here. Oh, there's actually some plain options. Okay. Then we have a kind of tucked in graphic tee. These are cool. I like how there's some that carry over to the back. And then we got the, is it a gnome? It looks like a gnome. Kind of cool. And then we've got, ooh, I love a good hoodie that has like the graphic on the back. I can see myself using this one quite a bit. And then we have this open chest button up, which you're only having one button done up, but like this is cool. You can definitely see this one having some good use. We also have this button up here, which some of these patterns are interesting, but then we have this one, this kind of like a layered shirt jacket kind of vibe. Some of these swatches are very interesting to me, but I like this one. And then we have this one here, which is kind of like the leafy, kind of fairy vibe. So we'll take a look at the color swatches for this. And then we have this one that has like the feathers on the top, which is cool. I like this. Well, I guess it could be leaves depending on the color option. But I like that one. And then we have this, which kind of gives me like fairy prints. Or like something royal. I don't know. This is screaming Akatara to me. That's where I'm at. And then for pants, we have these ones, which I think are the same as the females. I was gonna say maybe you could like color match this perfectly. And then we have this one, which these are nice. I don't love the little bag with it. I think it'd be kind of cuter without it. But they are quite nice. I'm gonna make him just like a little bit beefier so we can see what things look like. And then we have these ones here. We have this kind of leaf skirt vibe. This is fun. We have these, which have the kind of like tie up. Okay. And then we have these ones which go with that other top. They're very shiny though. Like certain colors of this are very shiny. Okay, not too bad. So for shoes, we have these boots, which I'm assuming are also meant to go with that last shirt and pant option. Maybe not, but that's where my brain went with it anyways. Then we have these like gladiator sandal kind of vibes. They have some pretty good color options. I feel like you can definitely make it work for most things. And then there's these kind of, I'm gonna say like combat boots, but they don't look like they're thick enough. They kind of look like if you attach like the top of a boot to like a clock. And then we, of course, have hooves because why not? I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm missing something with this, obviously gameplay wise, but so be it. And then for full body, we have the overalls here, which apparently don't have a top underneath them, which is interesting. But here's the color options for that. And then we have the same kind of like leafy kind of dress situation. And then this outfit, which I think I actually kind of prefer this as like a masculine outfit personally. Like I feel like it just kind of suits like the masculine frame a little bit more. We have this kind of arm cuff thing here, so this is the color options for that. And there's two new pairs of gloves. So we have these ones here, which are kind of like half gloves. I don't know the technical term for them, but here's the color options for this. And then we also have these ones, which for some reason, I don't know what it is. I see things like this and I'm like, I think like Elsa. So I don't know. And then they also have a matching kind of, I was gonna say like tights, but are they really? I guess they consider a legging in games, so that's what those look like. And then there's also a new pair of socks, which lets me take these off so you can see them. So they look like they're just kind of a little bit of an above ankle sock. But here are the color options for this. I like these. They're kind of cute. They're a little frilly. And then for base game, we have that little like skin shine. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the children's clothing. So here's one of the options for shirts. We also have this kind of like button up situation here. And then we have this one which has little fake fairy wings on it. And I think that is so sweet. So here's what this looks like. It's a little bit costumey. But I mean, like, at that age, I feel like it's kind of okay. And then for toddlers, here is what we're looking at. So this one's very sweet. And it looks like outfits are the same for all toddlers. And then we have these ones just kind of have like the wings on the shoulders. Cute. I like the color options on this. And it's very versatile. And then we have this one which has the little wings on it too. And I love that the pockets are acorns. This is so sweet. I honestly think toddler stuff might be my favorite so far. We also have this hairstyle here, and then there's also this one right here as well. Also didn't realize that younger hairs only had natural colors. Oh my goodness. Okay, this wins. This is my favorite hat in the game. Look at how cute. That is so sweet. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any sort of accessories for this age, but not too bad. No shoes or anything like that. There's actually is shoes. So we have these which kind of look like jelly sandals a little bit, which I think is funny that they're only, categorized as one. So for children, we have these outfits here too. So this one has like the butterflies, but there's also the ones without the wings on them. So super cute. And then we also have this dress, which is super glittery. This is fun. I like that. And then, of course, we have the same jelly kind of sandal shoe option going on. Okay, for hair, there's a few different options. We have this big bun. We have the same one with those highlights. We have these ones with the highlights and without the highlights as well. And then we have the same shorter hairstyles, the big kind of wavy curly one. So it's all kind of the same hairstyles. And then for shoes for the women, for like feminine frame, we have these ones here, which are not my favorite. And then of course we have the hooves, we have the gladiator sandals, and those same boots. This is kind of cute with this though. For some reason I couldn't get my sim to turn into a fairy, so we're going ahead and looking here. But we're going to take a look at the wing options. So we have these ones here. It looks like there's a lot of like wing options. So we'll just kind of quickly go through. I'm not going to go through color options because they're customizable, similar to cats and dogs. So then I would be here forever. But we can just quickly take a look through. Those ones kind of look like a flower. That's cool. And then we have a few different options here. So it's extremely customizable with the kind of wings that your fairy ends up with, which is cool. I like the options. Ooh, those are pretty. Okay. So I feel like you can also apparently have an option without, which is interesting. But like if I go in here, like I could do like a red on this one. We could do a darker color here. This kind of bluey purple. This color and like maybe not that. And you can like fully, match them to what you want them to be like. So that part's kind of cool. And then all of a sudden now I have her with wings. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up right here. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, you can hit the like button down below. If you want to see some more videos from me, go ahead and subscribe. I post 2 to 3 times a week right now. If you are already subscribed and want notifications for when I post, hit that bell down below. Make sure that your YouTube notifications are turned on. Thank you again to the EA Creator Network for providing me with early access to this expansion pack, and I will see you all in my very next video. Bye, lovelies!